What's up, PB and Cashew Bill? We are here today, and we're going to be talking about the NBA free agency offseason. Hit it.
What's up, PB and Cashewville? It is your boy PB.
And your boy Cashew.
We are not dead. We are actually very much alive. Because everybody thinks, like, how come you don't do your show anymore? Because, like, we try to watch and, like, there's no more shows.
Yeah, it's been very crazy weekends or weekdays, or I guess you can say past 2 weeks, and so we decided to take a little personal days off, I guess you can say.
Yeah, it was like 1 week. Matt needed a personal day. Next week, I needed a personal day. Then there was one day where it's like, can we just both have personal days? And here's the other factor. It is hot.
Oh, yeah.
It is hot.
But we are back.
We are back.
And we have, if you're a sports fan.
Oh, yes.
We have, and if you're a basketball fan.
A basketball fan.
We have a great topic to talk about.
Humongous topic about. In fact, like normally, whenever we want to try to talk about the postseason, and Matt usually tells me like, we're going to talk about basketball, I usually do one of these eye rolls, and then I say, okay, because Matt's so much better than me in talking about this. But this has been such an interesting off season that it warrants our discussion. So
it does.
Let's get right into it. But actually, I did have some thought. Did we want to say any final thoughts on how the NBA playoffs went or the Stanley Cup playoffs went?
My predictions were right.
Your predictions were right.
Warriors in 6.
Warriors in 6.
And they won in 6. Curry finally got his Finals MVP. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give Celtics a lot of credit. They did really well. This is for my boss's friend Brandon. I'm giving Celtics a lot of credit. They did well. They did good in the finals. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we'll see how they do this year.
Yeah, and one of the trades that we're going to be discussing, I'm sure, is going to be very pertinent and very something exciting that Brandon's going to definitely want to do.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that.
And Curry finally got his Finals MVP.
Did
got his 4th ring.
He was so emotional. It was
know.
like so emotional. It's like I finally got it.
I've been listening to. I listened to the Draymond Green show, and Draymond talks about how getting your 4th ring,
mm-hmm.
and this one meant a lot to them.
Yeah.
Because they've been hearing the stuff like, because of KD they got it. LeBron, all these guys were injured.
Mm-hmm,
with
mm-hmm.
Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving.
Right.
But now, what can you really say? It's like Curry literally was just killing it. He just said, I gotta get that Finals MVP. But you know what's crazy? They have a picture. I think it was in the 6th game. Curry goes like this, points at the ring finger, and said, "I'm getting my ring."
There we go.
It was nice, and they have like a cold picture of it.
Nice, yeah, and I think that this was actually a very exciting NBA series. I think this playoff series, I think, was one of the things, I think we discussed this, that really got me back into basketball because I was watching NBA games like non-stop. I was like, every single chance I was getting, it's flip-flopping between the NBA playoffs and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, and so it was just a great time in sports. Just to give my 2 cents about hockey, because that's all I usually get about hockey in this, unless Nick comes back. Nick, where are you? I need you, because you're the only person that likes to discuss hockey on this podcast. But Matt actually did. Zach said that if the Rangers did make the playoffs, we would try to actually go to see.
That would have been too much money.
You would have had to
we looked it up. It was almost like
$2,000. But it's so crazy. You could actually have gone to Carolina, and it wouldn't have cost that much for playoff tickets.
I gotta give credit to the Lightning though, because the Lightning kept losing and losing and losing.
Yeah, and they came back.
They keep coming back. But the Avalanche is like, nah, we're taking this.
The Avalanche is just exactly what their name suggests. They are an avalanche. Like, in terms of their offensive production, most of those guys I heard are going to still stay on that team, so that's a team to be reckoned with.
You saw that they dropped the Stanley Cup?
Yeah! And it caused a huge dent in it. It's like,
yeah, it was a huge dent.
Normally, like, you get these weird Stanley Cup stories. Why? Because everybody gets a day with the cup. That's one of the cool things about the Stanley Cup is you get every player and every GM gets a day with the Stanley Cup. So you get to do whatever you want with it. You get to go to your hometown, you get to your high school to just like, hey, look, here's the Stanley Cup. And normally that's when you'll get like these things. But this happened when they're taking the team picture.
That was low-key funny. And then the guy, I think one of the players for the Avalanche was actually playing with the broken foot.
Yeah, no.
He was.
This is what I'm telling you with hockey. Guys, like this guy was
like
on
I think he posted in his story or Instagram or something like that, and it's like he was actually like in the hospital. He had a broken foot.
Right.
So it's like I give that credit too. That's like tough right there.
See, I'm hoping that with this taste of hockey that you've seen, that you'll be able to watch more.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've been to a hockey game. It's not like I haven't been to a Rangers game because I've never been to a Rangers game. But the one down here in I think it was the Whalers.
No, the hat tricks.
The hat tricks.
I've been to a hat tricks game.
I've seen some of their. I've seen like one game. It was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool.
I went to a hat tricks playoff game, and Justin, if you're listening, you know how crazy it can get. And anybody that's gone to a hat tricks game, you know how crazy it can get. If you ever seen the hockey classic,
they were called the Thrashers.
No, this.
What they used to be called something.
They used to be called the Thrashers, but
Thrashers.
I think you guys.
I saw.
You saw a Thrashers game.
It was when I used to work at Chick-fil-A. They took us to an event and we went to go watch.
All right,
I think it was the Thrashers.
Cool. Right. Oh, nice.
But
yeah.
Now
let's get into the meat.
Good stuff.
The meat.
Now I know you have a couple of things, but I want to outline a couple other things.
No, absolutely.
Because we got to talk a little bit about all these
max contracts.
Which, I'm not going to lie, I'm happy for some of these guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm happy for Zach LaVine. I wish he would have got more, honestly. $215 million, I think it was. I wish he would have probably got like around more than what Zion's going to get, because Zion's getting $231 million. We don't talk about that. Let me see. Bradley Beal got $251 million. Jokic, $274 million.
The history break, like, largest contract ever. That is insane. That is insane.
Garland just got the extension for $193 million. I'm happy about that, and here's why I'm happy about this, because Garland actually played well this year. And like I'm talking about, he played phenomenal. He became an all-star. I believe he deserved it. I think every year he kept getting better and better, and I believe he deserved it. John Morant, 193. Obviously, he deserved that.
Oh goodness, he carried that team, I think.
Karl-Anthony Towns, $224 million. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, I guess, but I'm just like, man, Carl, you could do so much better in a different team. I feel like that's me personally, obviously. But I understand why he took that deal. Just in case if he decides I don't want to be here no more, he has the money.
He has the money
when
for
he wants to get traded.
Correct.
Yeah. I already said Zion, $231 million, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to see what he's gonna do this year. If he plays well this year, and if he actually plays with the Pelicans and don't decide I just want the money and I want to go, like I want to get traded, okay, I'm fine with that. But if it's just I'm gonna sit out and just do nothing,
he's gonna Ben Simmons.
Which I don't think he will. I think he actually will play, because that Pelicans team, even though they're a young team, they're gonna be a nice team. Like we saw how they were in the playoffs. They faced the Suns.
Yeah, and they put a pretty decent fight.
Pretty decent fight. Let me think. Am I missing? I said Bradley Beal already, right? I feel like I'm
Trae Young, I think, hustled.
No, Trae Young did it.
Didn't
he did it. I try to think if I can remember everybody.
Kyrie Irving also got.
No, he
got the option.
He got the option.
He got the option.
Russell Westbrook took the player option, which
yes, he did.
I'm sorry for you Laker fans. Okay, here's what I'm saying. I give Lakers a lot of credit this offseason. Here's why. They finally are going young. They're getting young talents, which is pretty good to me. I think that's pretty smart. Golden State, they lost a lot of players. But here's what I say. Even though Golden State lost Gary Payton second, which that's a big, that's a big loss.
Yeah,
they also lost Otto Porter Jr., who's another big loss. They just lost Buychick, I think his name is. I think that was his name. They just lost Damian Lee. So they're losing a couple of guys. They did got a good signing in DiVincenzo. I think that's going to be a good one. But here's what I was going to say. They got Kevon Looney back. They resigned for like $25 million or something like that. But I was gonna say is they're still in good shape because of their young guys that they got, like Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and I'm honestly gonna say if James Wiseman is healthy and if he plays how they say he's gonna play, second pick, then there you go. They're still good. I'm trying to figure out where Aiton's gonna go.
That's actually one of my parting shot questions, but since you're like the basketball expert, and so I had to come up with questions almost like I'm interviewing you. And honestly, one of my things that I was thinking is to get one of our other NBA analysts, Lucas, and you guys like duke it out. But my first question, I think let's get to the Knicks because I know that that's the big thing. Now,
Brunson got 104 million.
Yes, but I think we also have to do a bit of a discussion on what happened during the NBA draft.
Okay.
So
okay, let me
do a synopsis.
Let me break it down
of what happened to the NBA.
So basically, what happened is we're the 11th pick. We're trying to call up to go to the 4th or 5th pick. We're trying to trade up for Jaden. Is it Jaden Ivey? Yeah, Jaden Ivey. Mm-hmm. Who the Kings said they were not gonna get. So then we were like, okay, let's try to see if we can get Detroit. Well, no matter what, even if we get the King of Detroit, if we would have traded up, we would have got him.
Right.
The issue is that the Kings didn't want him. They want Keegan Murray, which Keegan Murray's good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Jaden Ivey would have been better for the Kings, but he didn't want to go with the Kings, so the Kings it made sense, you know. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to go with the Kings. He didn't mind going. He had a couple. Detroit was one of his picks to go to. The Knicks were actually one of them. Actually, honestly, he said if he wouldn't mind going to the Knicks. So we tried to trade up, that didn't happen. So then what happened was we decided to we said all right, fine, then we're not going to trade up. So what we decided to do is we have the 11th pick. I forgot the Frenchman. We picked the center Frenchman.
Yeah.
But we traded him to OKC, Oklahoma City. We thought we were going to get the 12th pick, but that didn't happen. They just got some future round second picks, I believe. Mm-hmm. So then what happened was Charlotte comes, right? Charlotte gets Jalen Duran, and I think everybody else wanted him. He's a good center. He's going to be good. But they traded him to the Knicks, and the Knicks traded him and Kemba, and I believe a couple draft picks, for cap space. They did cap space, right. Okay? So then everybody's like, oh, what is the Knicks going to do? What's the Knicks going to do? All the Knicks did basically in the draft was got a couple picks, and then they got one guy in the second round. His name is Trevor Keels. Actually, if you look at his highlights, he seems like he's going to be pretty good. He's only 18 years old. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's going to be nice. He's good defensively. I was looking sometimes. I was like, okay, maybe he's a good pick. And so then, let's talk a little bit after the draft. A lot of people are upset, like, oh, what the Knicks are going to do.
Yes.
Leon sent a statement out. The statement was saying, basically, I get that, you're probably wondering what we did. We have 22 draft picks from 2027, I believe. We have first rounds and second round picks. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. I'm like, okay, that's pretty smart. Okay, maybe we're going to try to do it for the draft. So then you go, and, people are so upset, and then you're hearing in the off season or free agency's coming, you're hearing that the Knicks want Brunson. Mm-hmm. The Knicks are going to try to give him $110 million, or they're trying to go high, and the Mavs are trying to get Brunson too, and for 5 years. And then we said, okay, we got to get cap space. So what did we decide to do? We trade Noel and Burks and a couple picks to Detroit to make more cap space for us. And now, since we made more cap space, we can say, okay, now we could get Brunson right then and there. Mm-hmm. Well, Mavs was going to say, they said they were going to give them 5 years, maybe they could give him 5 years for like $125 million, I believe it was. And the Knicks were saying, like, rumors were coming, like, the Knicks could give him like 135 plus more, Mm-hmm. But the Knicks gave him, he signed with the Knicks of $104 million.
Okay. That is the Knicks situation in a nutshell. So, Mike, I have a few questions.
Okay.
Question number 1. Because the Knicks gave up a lot of future draft picks, would you consider the moves that they've done right now as a win-now situation?
They still got draft picks, though.
Right.
We still got some draft picks. And I'm going to say this. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think they're going to try to do one more thing. That's me personally. I've been hearing, like, that they might trade Fournier, try to get him out the way, but I'm not sure.
I kind of like Fournier, though.
I understand, but it seems like the Knicks are more into, like, developing their young guys now. Like, I'm talking about, like, guys like RJ Barrett, obviously, Obi Toppin, Emil Quickly. If we keep Cam Reddish, you got also McBride, Grimes, so they got Jericho Sims, and then they also got a new guy named Isaiah Hartenstein, who he's actually going to be a good backup center, I think, for Mitchell Robinson, because they also, by the way, they signed Mitchell Robinson to $60 million for 4 years, And I think he's gonna be a good backup. He plays good defense. He can give you some boards. He's a stretch. He could shoot the three. He could actually shoot the three. I think that's a good fit for him. I think he'll work out well. Brunson, on the other hand, I'm gonna say this. A lot of people are upset with Brunson, like, oh, they overpaid him. Look, Brunson got his money, and here's what I'm gonna say. And I keep telling this to people, and I keep telling this to my friend, a Boston fan, Brandon. Brunson was literally getting overshadowed by Luka. Luka Doncic keeps the ball almost 95%. I want to tell you, without Luka Doncic in 17 games in 2021 to 2022, Brunson had averaged 20.4 points, 7.5 assists, and 3.9 rebounds. With Luka, his whole career average is 16.3, 3.9, 4.8. That's with Luka. Think about that. Now, you don't have Luka in the spot, right? You're in a new team. You can finally, Tom Thibodeau can finally tell Randall, hey, Randall, you can relax. You got yourself actually a solid point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee, I'm going to say it, Brunson's probably going to average around 20 points or maybe even more. He's going to average more, and he's probably going to have more assists.
Right.
Because, like I say, he was being overshadowed by Luka. So, I know people are like, oh, well, we're over... Well, first of all, this whole draft. This whole free agency has been people getting overpaid, But that's fine. Because the NBA is making money. They have money for it, So, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I get it. People are upset. But I think Brunson's going to help out a lot. And I think it's going to help also Randall and Barrett out a lot. Because then they have another guy they could depend on other than Randall and Barrett.
You just answered basically all my questions. Because my next question was, who was the true winner of this acquisition? And yeah, obviously it is Jalen Brunson, because he was getting paid not as much in Dallas, but he's making the big bucks now in New York. Second question was, is he what the Knicks need? Personally, that's what I really thought. I just didn't think that we should have also been giving away our picks that way. I asked also, do you think that the Knicks, because they gave up these picks, have jeopardized their future? Based on what you're saying, no, because they've got enough young talent to be able to
think about it like this too. What was the one thing we were upset about, and me and you kept talking about? Was we need to get our young guys minutes.
Yeah.
Because when we watched games, we saw how much potential they had.
How much fun it is to watch them.
Right. We saw them play with their heart. We saw them play well.
With a lot of energy. Yeah.
And
it's exciting.
And I think, moving the vets, because Tom Thibodeau is a coach, and we all know this, where he mostly plays his vets, where you force a situation where you're like, okay, now you don't really have vets. You had to use your young guys.
Yeah.
Because they want to develop these young guys. I honestly believe Quickly could be good. Quickly could be a good six-man. And maybe if he ever decides to leave, he could probably even be a starter.
Right, somewhere.
Quickly hasn't, I honestly believe Quickly hasn't reached his potential yet.
Correct.
Same thing with Brunson. Brunson, I think he has a higher ceiling, and he hasn't reached his potential yet.
Because he has to. It's like
because it was Luka Doncic's team, and so he's right behind Luka.
It's a Kyrie LeBron situation. It's like you have to play second fiddle to this guy. But now that he's in this team, again, when we were discussing this at work, it's like, again, whenever I think of point guards that I really want, and this is more of a personal thing. I thought of Fred VanVleet, but Fred VanVleet's never coming. But
I'll tell you.
But
I'll tell you one point guard I wanted, but it was whatever now. DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, there's no way.
Not.
They would no way that they would give him up.
No. The Spurs gave him up.
The Spurs.
We could have.
I would prefer Brunson. I think because Brunson I think has more playoff experience. I think.
Murray is a good defensive player, right?
Yeah.
Murray averaged Murray averaged around 20-something points per game. He had 2.1 I think steals per game. He's good. Murray is actually pretty good. DeJounte Murray is really good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with
No. Right here. Hold on, we're gonna look it up real quick for you guys.
Yeah, we're on one of the great stat sites that we use is StatMuse. We do need a statistician for these
21.1, 8.3, and 9.2 out of 53. That is good stats.
That's good stats, yeah.
Now here's the thing. Okay.
But what would it have taken to get DeJounte Murray?
Do you know what the Atlanta Hawks gave him? Gallo and a couple first round picks. Literally. But I get why they took it, and look, I'm not, before I go, I get it. You're probably gonna say, "Oh, he's a Knicks fan, so he's gonna be so biased towards what he says." Look.
Yes, I can already tell what you're about to say.
I'm not gonna say. I'm not saying Atlanta's bad. They're actually a good team. I'm gonna say Atlanta's a good team. Do I think Trae Young can be overrated sometimes? Yes, but he's a good player. There's a difference between a good player but also being overrated.
Yeah.
You know, that's me being honest. I gotta see how Javonte Murray wanted to be an Atlanta Hawks. He wanted to play with Trae Young, and Trae Young wanted that. I gotta see how they go.
Right.
They can be a great backcourt. They can be, but when you watch the game and you know, I watch NBA a lot. Trae Young is so ball dominant that he's just like a Luka Doncic. He needs the ball in his hand most of the time. Right. So if they could figure that out, then that would be good. For me, I would say have Murray be the main point guard and put Trae Young in the shooting guard position. That's me.
I don't know if Trae Young's gotten so used to being able to do both that just to kind of wrestle that away from him, I don't think that's going to be that easy. So
because Murray, yeah, he's not really a good shooter like that.
So he's more of a distributor.
He's more
floor
of a
general.
Floor general distributor. He gives you some mid-range shots. He can do layups for you. That's what I'm saying. You know, Trae Young, he could make the three. He could break down the defense as well, and he is a good distributor as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. If you maybe put him in the shooting guard position, and if you teach him how to do off the ball movement, that could be crazy right there. You know, then Jonathan Murray, you gotta worry about those two. There you go. That's how I think it should work. But maybe that's how they could do it.
Cool. One last question in the Brunson issue. What are the effects you think that this has on Dallas?
Dallas is going to have to find another, I think...
piece.
Okay, they got JaVale McGee, which I think is a solid. Like, I think that's going to help them out a lot. They actually got something that they were missing, and that is a center that could protect the rim, a rim protector. Mm-hmm. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to come back. That's another good thing for them.
So are you
I feel like if they could just get maybe a shooting guard or another point guard / shooting guard that was like Brunson, for example, they're thinking about they're thinking about pursuing Colin Sexton, something like that. Maybe that could work.
So you're saying then the Jalen Brunson leaving Dallas really is not going to be that much of a problem, or is it going to be?
I feel like they lost a key player.
But do you think they'll be fine? But do you think the Dallas will be?
It's Luka Doncic, so okay. Luka is just Luka. So no matter who you guard, put Luka on, he's always gonna score a lot of points on you. So
excellent. All right, next topic: Rudy Gobert, the Frenchman, the Eiffel Tower, who made a lot of great times over in Utah, is no longer going to be in Utah. In fact, he is now going to play with the T-Wolves, Los Lobos, with the cat himself, Karl Anthony Towns,
and Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell. People keep forgetting about D'Angelo Russell, but D'Lo is still nice. As much as he had a bad playoffs, he had a really good playoffs. He's still good.
Okay.
I just gotta say something real quick.
Okay.
I just think Rudy Gobert is just so overrated. I just think he's so overrated. Me personally.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's just me personally. I just think he's so overrated.
This is something that I would have a little bit of an agreement with, because I did maths. I like doing maths and looking at the stats and everything like that. Like the 4 players that are being part of this trade. If you average them together, it's looks like Gobert is definitely a good trade, because if you average Beasley, Beverly, Vanderbilt, and Bolmaro, that's averaging the 4 of them, it's 7.4 points a game, 4.1 rebounds a game, 2 assists per game. And there's this stat called PER, which is in hockey it's plus or minus. It's like how well that person contributes, and the average between those 4 is 11.875. Gobert's stats from last year was he's 15.6 points, 14.7 rebounds, and 1.1 assists. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I honestly, this is what I say.
Let me finish.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm sorry.
But and I'm thinking that you might go down this way as well. I think that the loss of Beasley and Beverly, well, actually more in Beasley, I think is going to be something that's going to hurt the Timberwolves. So the first question I did actually have here is that ESPN had graded the Timberwolves side of this trade as a D, which is a barely passing grade for them. What are your thoughts on that? Would you agree or disagree?
I understand a lot of people are like, oh, Karl Anthony Towns can now move to the floor, and you got Anthony Edwards, and Rudy. I get that Rudy Gobert he's good defensively. We're not gonna say he's not. He really is good defensively, but me personally, it's just like I don't know. I feel like he's just overrated. Me personally, I don't know. Something about him just makes me feel like he's just overrated. Like, again, he's good defensively. Offensively, the way he gets going offensively is you need to, your guy passes some, like the Donovan Mitchell had to pass it in hand, get him some good assists, get some points. Okay, I get that. Good. He's good rebounding. Don't get me wrong. He's good at rebounding. But here's the thing. I gotta see how it works. I gotta see how these two work. How Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns works. Because it seems like
it's a two big man situation.
It's fine. We've been seeing a lot of two big man situations before, which worked out well.
Like,
but it all
David Robinson and Tim Duncan.
Yeah, but it all depends also, because let's be honest. Dave Robinson though he knew how to score,
right? And
Tim Duncan knew how to score, so those two knew how to score. My question is this: how is it going to contribute more into the defensive end? Not through the perimeter side, because the interior is going to be good,
pretty good, but
because you got Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. But how is going to be how's your interior? Because if you think about it, you gave a great player. I'm not gonna say he's a good player and a great defender in Patrick Beverly.
Yes,
who's great.
Who's
good in the interior. Michael
Beasley.
Michael Beasley, I think his name is.
Michael Beasley.
Is it Michael or Michael Beasley? I think he was good defensively, but he was actually a guy who could give you buckets.
Yeah, 12.1 is what the average.
Vanderbilt actually was a good defender. I thought, my opinion, me personally. And then this guy right here, if I'm not mistaken,
Leandro Bolmaro.
I think he is a rookie, and I think I believe he was a rookie that they got. I'm not sure.
No, Kessler's the guy that
was
they
it
got.
Kessler?
Yeah, he's the one that they got from Auburn. He doesn't have stats from last year, obviously, but he did okay at Auburn, 11.4, 8.1, and 9.
I know you had this down here, but this right here, let's talk about it real quick. This is a big trade, and let's talk about the Kevin Durant. For Kevin Durant, you got to give more than that.
True.
You're gonna have to give him more than that.
Before we get to the Kevin Durant, which is also one that I'm also dying to know what you think about, how does this affect Utah and Donovan Mitchell? So I've been watching a lot of ESPN and listening to some of the sports commentators. They are thinking that this is actually the start of a rebuild for them, and they are thinking that perhaps even Donovan Mitchell will be on his way out. Do you agree with that, or do you think that everybody's overreacting just a bit?
I think the Jazz said this, and I think this was coming. We all knew this was coming. One of those two gotta go. It couldn't be both. It has to be one or the other.
So now it becomes Donovan Mitchell's team. So they're not gonna trade.
I think the only way Donovan Mitchell will get traded is if he asks for a trade. Do I think he'll ask for a trade? I gotta see. I right now, because here's what I'm gonna say. They probably would have traded Donovan Mitchell already because they traded Gobert. Because Donovan Mitchell's two main places that apparently he wants to go is Heat and the Knicks. And the Knicks.
Donovan Mitchell and the Knicks.
The Knicks are probably not gonna try to go for him.
Because we already have one.
Well, not only that, it's just that. You had to give too much. You saw what you got for Gobert. You also gotta give that much for Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And if the other team is the Heat, which the Heat could work with it, but do you really want to give away someone like, let's say, a Tyler Hero?
Yeah, true.
Or do you want to give someone away like even though you don't really use him like that, Duncan Robinson? I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to give a lot, and you have to give a lot of picks. But I think what I read something where it says that the Jazz said they want to rebuild around Donovan Mitchell, and I'm like, okay. You're gonna rebuild around Donovan Mitchell, then give him the pieces he wants. Listen to what he has to say, because like I said, we already knew that him, Donovan Mitchell, and Rudy Gobert, they really couldn't. They had tensions, and it had to be one or the other.
That decides to go.
That decides to get traded.
Last question.
And they said, okay, you know what? We'll just take out Gobert, which I thought was a smart decision in my opinion, because Donovan Mitchell's even though he's not good defensively. Donovan Mitchell would be a better player to build around, because if you're gonna build around a center for and defensive purposely, I don't know.
You can't be it's not really fitting into
I don't think it will really work out like that.
With the way that the league is now. The last question, if everything stays the same as it is right now, who is in better shape for the playoffs? Because I think that maybe Utah might have the edge. Because they think they've got more versatility in their offense. And I think that because you've got two big men, you've very predictable in terms of your offense if you're Minnesota.
I think Minnesota
still has the edge.
I think Minnesota might have the edge, and here's why I say that. It's because even though they got two towers in Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is still a good player. I sometimes think he's soft, but he's a good player, in my opinion. Anthony Edwards is a great player, and you still got D'Angelo Russell. And honestly, I'm gonna say it, I think what will happen is they'll help out D'Angelo Russell out a lot with the whole Rudy Gobert, because then he could pass it to he could do a lot of lobs.
Yeah,
Lobs,
pick and rolls
with Gobert. So maybe that might help them out a lot too. And like you said, a lot of teams are gonna probably be afraid to go in that interior, because Karl-Anthony Towns is a good defender, and so is Rudy.
So you would still think that.
I think Minnesota has the edge. But don't sleep on the Jazz. Just because the Jazz, they lost Rudy. Don't sleep on the Jazz.
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell could carry a team. He's shown it before.
Now the second to the last thing the last thing before our parting shots. Kevin Durant wants out of Brooklyn. My question, because you and I've discussed like how good that James Harden trade brought so many different players into the Nets, which actually makes them better. And we've also discussed that if Ben Simmons starts to play at the caliber that he's supposed to be playing, the Nets actually have a very, very good team.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, why then does Kevin Durant want to leave Brooklyn?
So I gotta tell you this. I saw a TikToker, and he had this, because they had this theory, and they said this, and I bear with me, because it kind of makes sense why they said this. They said Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving kind of hate the media. Like, they don't like media at all. And that's true. So they don't like media at all. That's true. So what he said is,
being in New York makes that?
No. Here it is. He said what they think they're doing is they're messing around. Like, they think that Durant's not really going to get traded. They just think that they're just doing this to mess with the media.
Oh.
Because they hate media. And that's true. Durant and Kyrie don't like the media at all. So and I don't blame them for that.
Okay.
So they think that they're messing around. I don't know. It's tough to say, because at the end of the day, you gotta understand. Like I said, what we told you about what they gave for Rudy, because they also gave them like I think 4 unprotected first round picks.
Right.
You gotta get more for Durant than that.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
That's a franchise player.
Because not only is a franchise player, he's probably, a lot of people go, oh, Giannis is probably. He's probably one of the greatest basketball players to play in the league right now. Yeah. Like right now. You might argue, oh, LeBron's better, Curry's better, or Giannis is better, but Kevin Durant is also in that, he's a superstar. Like, whenever you're a superstar that could get you rings. I know you're going to be like, oh, well, he hasn't gotten the Nets.
No.
Yeah, I get that he hasn't gotten the Nets, but he also got injured a lot. His teammate got injured. Whole Kyrie situation, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. The media really I'm going to say this. I feel like Kyrie Irving is like our generation of Allen Iverson. I really believe so.
That's true. I agree with that.
I honestly believe it, and here's why it is. Like, when Allen Iverson, they will always bash his boy.
Right.
And they do the same with Kyrie. Kyrie could say, "I don't want to get the vaccination shot."
Did everybody like?
Oh, you're messing up with you're messing up the chemistry. It's like leave the guy alone. When they were like he didn't want to opt in at first. And look, I'm gonna say this. The only reason, and this is what I say, if this is true, the Nets are the ones that kind of screwed this up. And here's why I say they kind of messed this up. All they had to do, in my opinion, was give Kyrie that extension. All they had to do was give Kyrie an extension, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And Durant probably would have not wanted to get traded. But since that didn't happen, and they said you have to opt in, that's what happened. And I don't think Kevin Durant's mad at Kyrie. I think they want to play in the future with each other again.
Just not in not in Brooklyn is what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, here's my scenario, and this is what I told Zach, and this is what I told one other friend. The best scenario for these two, if they really want to play, is Kyrie has one more year left in his contract, right? If he goes wherever, if he goes to the Lakers, which I doubt it, but if he does go to the Lakers out of nowhere, and let's say Durant goes to Portland, or let's say he goes to the Raptors, whatever team. Kyrie, don't go back to the team he's in and just go where Durant's at. And people might say, oh, they might not get Kyrie Irving. It's Kyrie Irving. They will still give Kyrie Irving money.
So then, with that, I just had a thought. So then, with that, based on what everybody is saying, you really think that the place where that could actually happen, based on what Kevin Durant wants to do right now and what everybody is saying, is that him and that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are playing for Miami. That's what you're saying, because
that can't happen.
There's two places. Well, there's two places. It's Phoenix or Miami.
But here's the issue.
So
he has a no trade clause, so they could put it where he doesn't have no say. They could trade him wherever they want to.
Okay.
So they want to. They could say, okay, what? They could say, get your Durant, go OKC. They could say go OKC. They could say go back with OKC, or they could say, you know what? Let's take you to the worst team. Let's take you somewhere like Detroit Pistons, which I don't know. The Pistons are gonna be nice this year. I think the Pistons are gonna be nice. I think they are. But I'm just giving you an example. You know, they could tell him they could take him wherever. I would like to see him go to Portland with Dame. That's me personally. Him and Dame in Portland.
KD
and Dame in Portland. That would be nice. I would like that. But here's why the Suns can do it. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, they could trade Ayton and stuff like no, you can't. Because then they have to trade Ben Simmons because Ayton and Ben Simmons can't play. And the same thing with Bam Adebayo is if Bam gets traded with the Heat, Bam can't play. They had to trade one of them. Sorry, Siri. Yeah, they had to trade one of them, and it doesn't make sense to me. I could see this. I could see them not finding a trade, and if they can't find a trade, they might tell Durant. I don't think they should. They might say, Durant, you know what? Sit out. Just sit out. I wouldn't say that. I would say, you know what? Just play with us, and Durant will find you something.
Find you a trade.
We'll find you a trade.
So do you think that when that happens, that Kyrie will follow right behind him, maybe in the next season?
If they really want to play, yeah, I think Kyrie will. Wherever Kyrie goes, he'll do it for 1 year, and if he sees that Kevin Durant is
okay, here's my theory then. What if, because he's fed up with it, Chris Paul retires? Do you think then, if KD goes to the Suns, that it would be possible for Kyrie to also be on that team?
For Kevin Durant to go to the Suns or to the Heat, I'm going to say it. You're going to have to trade Devin Booker for the Suns and a couple people. Or for the Heat, you're going to have to trade between Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and Bam. And you have to probably get two of these players. Because the Nets are not just going to get a Jimmy Butler. No disrespect to Jimmy Butler. He's a great player. But they're not going to take a Jimmy Butler for Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, if this is true, wants the Heat to keep Bam, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler, which is tough to do, you know, because then they're going to have to basically give out their whole team, basically, for Durant.
Okay.
So, for me personally, I like that theory that the guy said that maybe Kevin Durant is just messing around with the media and he's actually going to stay. He's just doing that to mess around with the media. And it'll be funny if they just messed around with everybody just to mess around. You know, it'll be funny if he's like, hey, I got a great prank on that NBA free agency to make it interesting for us.
They're punking us.
Like, I could see it. I feel like, I don't know. It could be that, or maybe he wants it. Maybe he can get traded. The one team that I hear that really could make this trade and who's lurking for the trade is the Raptors. Which makes sense because the guy, the owner of the Raptors or the GM of the Raptors always find a way. When he was with the Nuggets, he traded Carmelo Anthony. He found a way to trade Carmelo Anthony. When he was still with the Raptors. He found a way to got Kawhi Leonard and traded DeMar DeRozan. So like, I could see that happening too.
That would be kind of interesting to see him in Toronto. Last two parting shots. The first The first one, which would you want to discuss first? Do you want to do the Celtics trade or Adam Sandler's movie?
Yeah, Celtics trade.
Okay, Celtics trade. Malcolm Brogdon is going to go to the Celtics, so I'm sure Brandon's really happy about that.
That's a good pickup.
And here's the thing about it too, from what I've heard, is that he practically got to Boston for practically nothing.
Basically. So basically what happened was, and I thought this was smart. I thought this was smart. I thought this was a good pick for the Celtics because they also need, just like how the Knicks need a point guard, they also need a point guard, a guy who can play make. No disrespect to Marcus Smart. I get he won Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not. I honestly don't think he's a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard. So now what you can do is put Brogdon in the one, and then put, Marcus Smart in the two. And you have your point guard and shooting guard, your backcourt right there, and then obviously, Jason Tatum's gonna have to move to the power forward, Jaylen Brown small forward, and then you got Robert Williams.
I've been calling Robert Williams Robin Williams this whole time. Can you believe that?
And I think that was a good trade. I think that was smart.
What happened to Al Horford?
He's probably gonna go off the bench, which makes sense. It would make sense.
But I actually really like.
But they also got Gallo.
Yeah.
They got Gallinari too. That's another good pickup. So I'm gonna say it. That was a good pickup. But don't sleep on the Bucks because the Bucks also got some good pickups. I'm just gonna say it like that.
Who is now your top team in the East with these trades?
Let me think.
Who is the team to beat in the East because of these trades?
I think the Bucks are still going to be a tough team. Obviously, I think the Celtics are going to be a tough team. He's still going to be a tough team, obviously. Even though they lost PJ Tucker, they'll still be Sixers got PJ Tucker. That's another good team.
That's a good. That Sixers team's going to be actually.
Sixers are going to do pretty good, I think. And if they find a way to trade Tobias Harris, that'll be actually big for them as well because then they'll have more ways to get more people, more cap space and stuff like that.
Speaking of Tobias Harris and the Sixers, the final parting shot, I guess, would be this. On Netflix right now, Adam Sandler. Everybody likes Adam Sandler with all of those funny movies that he used to do back in the day. He actually has a new movie called Hustle. And I was hoping that you've seen it, and you did. And because when I was watching it yesterday, it was very captivating and a lot of fun to watch. And if you're an NBA fan, you go nuts because there's all of these particular cameos. In the last few minutes that we've got, what was your take on Adam Sandler's Hustle?
I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was great. You know what? Another movie. Before we pause that, there's another movie that came out that I haven't watched yet. It's Disney called Rise. You know what that movie's about?
Oh, that's about Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's my next one I gotta watch.
But all right, back to Hustle. I think it was a great movie. I think the cast, everybody did well. I was pretty shocked with Anthony Edwards, Kermit. I thought he did pretty good, honestly. I like the part. He was
very potty mouthed.
No, but dirty. I like the part where what was it? Adam said, "You're getting mad at a guy who saved Kermit."
He's saved him a frog and a muppet.
It was something like that. I'd be dying, but out of everything, that movie was great. Like I thought that movie was great. It was a great sports movie. They did it well. You had a lot of cameos. Perfect. Like I said, if you're an NBA fan, and you know what, Adam Sandler loves the NBA. He is an NBA fan. So
and I heard he's actually one cool thing too is that. They weren't just like NBA players. If you're looking very closely at the training sequences, the guys that are helping him train are the guys from the N1 Mix Store, like the professor.
Oh, yeah.
Which is so cool. And the professor's the guys teaching him all these things.
And there was the professor. I think the Bone Collector was
there. Bone Collector was there too.
And then you also had legends. They had
Dr. J.
Legends, Dr. J.
They have Dr. J, like pictures of a video of Dr. J dunking.
My boy, Bo Cruz, I think his name is Juan Henry Gomez, or something like that. He's still a free agent. Get my boy Bo Cruz a contract.
No, I was so crazy when he was like, Bo Cruz is like not. It's like, but you meant like Hernan Gomez. He did good. I thought he did good. I have one qualm with that movie, one absolute qualm with that movie, but it's more of like an annoyance. But nonetheless, it's still. Why is Kenny Smith not playing Kenny Smith in this movie? Because I thought this is the reason why it looks so weird because. This is like Kenny Smith is not Kenny Smith in this Adam Sandler world, or Kenny Smith doesn't exist, and it seems so weird because when they showed a clip of Inside the NBA, Kenny Smith isn't there, but like he's a huge fixture of that. they made it seem like he was his teammate at Temple, which was weird. But I thought that was my, as an NBA purist, not a purist, but like, fan.
I feel like it was
just didn't make sense for that. That's my only qualm with it.
I feel like it was to make it more relatable. Because I feel like this. If Adam Sandler didn't have a friend like, let's say, Kenny Smith, I forgot his name in the movie.
It's Leon.
Leon, I think,
yeah.
right?
He's a sports agent. That kind of helps him get back into.
I think it made more sense to me, and here's why: it's because okay, how the heck do everybody know who this guy is? Why did he got a contract? Why? You'll be like, how is he so popular? Adam Sandler's character, and I think that's perfect because now he used to play college. Kenny Smith or Leon, was also a college player, but now he's a sports. He's a sports agent. I think it made more sense. I feel like that was more sense to me.
Honestly, though, the character of Leon, it's not as legendary as the character of the actuality of Kenny Smith.
But let me ask you this:
you could have still gotten the same kind of.
Wouldn't it be weird? Because we know who Kenny Smith is. Wouldn't it be weird if he's like, I'm Kenny, this is Kenny Smith. He's an agent. Wouldn't that be weird?
No,
because we know that he's not an agent.
No, he's not an agent, but he could still accomplish the same things that he accomplished in the movie by just being Kenny Smith. I mean,
but what I'm saying is the reason why
because he calls on Dirk Nowitzki for a favor. They were gonna be the same thing. But he's playing Kenny Smith, but Kenny Smith is Kenny Smith in this universe.
But I feel like the reason why for me it made more sense is just like, in reality, we know he's not an agent, though. That's why.
Yeah, I know. That's why. That's the only part of it.
Everybody was doing their roles. Like for example, Trae Young was playing as Trae Young, and if Kenny Smith played as Kenny Smith, he wouldn't be the agent. He'll be with Shaq and Charles Barkley in the inside crew, wouldn't he?
True.
That's why it made more sense. That's why they did it. Because then if you do that, you're going to put Kenny Smith what he's really doing.
Right.
Because think about it like this: Anthony Edwards. If you put Anthony Edwards, he's in the Timberwolves. Why do you change it? Why his name's Kermit? You put his name Kermit and put in that he's a college basketball player, makes it more sense. The guy Juan Hernangomez, the reason why he call him Bo Cruz is because
I know that. But like that I understand. Because that I get. But it's just the Kenny Smith one.
Like I said,
Kenny Smith one just felt weird.
Adam Sandler tried to make it like for example, Trae Young was still with the Atlanta Hawks. He made it seem like they're still in the NBA. So if Kenny Smith's name was Kenny Smith, it wouldn't randomly come as an agent. I'm putting where he's at right now.
That was my only qualm with that, but I still enjoyed it. If you do watch it, there's a lot of kind of like crude language, so just be cautious when you do watch it. But if you are a fan of basketball, and if you're a fan of Adam Sandler, and you'd like some of his dramatic stuff, this might be something that might be interesting to watch.
By the way, we forgot to mention this. I forgot to say in the beginning of the podcast, we'll say it right now, we actually got a shirt. Let me go get it real quick.
We do have a shirt. It's right up here. I hung it up. Our friend Lauren made this shirt. This is the front of the PB and Cashew shirt and the back of the PB and Cashew shirt. And so we will be selling these soon. We're just trying to figure out the logistics of it and a lot of other cool, fun business stuff. So stay tuned for these. This should be pretty interesting for you to purchase. So yeah, we'll probably rock these the next time that we have our next episode. So keep checking out for that.
Yes.
Any final? We talked a lot of basketball. Well, you talked a lot of basketball. That's why I wanted to come up with the questions to perk your interest.
Free agency is not over yet.
Yeah, I know.
It's not until July 6th, so we might have more crazy stuff. Aiton's still out there. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out.
There's more things. We'll probably see more crazy trades, maybe more crazy sign up. But if I'm gonna say one thing, that is this: is that we're finally back. No worries. Like I said, we just took 2 weeks off. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna make an episode on Monday, but we're not gonna send it out on Saturday. We want to make you let you know in advance, so you won't be like,
Yeah, it's just so that we're just back on track with everything. So just keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. So just as we always like to say, we don't know you, but we love you, and there's a God above that does. I'm PB.
And I'm Cashew.
Peace out, PB Cashewville.